She said, no way. She said, we got a memo today for 8 personnel to be transferred to the USS Mercury AKS-20. I said, what kind of ship is that? She said, that's a supply ship. You supply ships at sea. I said, do I have a choice? She said, no. I said, okay. So I was sent aboard the USS Mercury AKS-20. The ship had holds. The aft hold was filled with mattresses, pillows, blankets, sheets, you name it. The ship had 12 large refrigerators, I mean large. They were all kept at different temperatures because of the contents. One refrigerator room had meat, another one had milk, another one had vegetables, and so on. And so we went out to sea, and we supplied ships at sea, and did that by shooting a rope across to the ship that we were pulling alongside of, and they pulled a heavier rope across, and then trolleys with cargo nets to ship the supplies across. That's the way we supplied ships at sea. At the conclusion of the war, the home port of our ship was changed from San Francisco, California to Norfolk, Virginia. So I had the opportunity to sail through the Panama Canal. We got through the Panama Canal, we stopped at Miami, Florida, and they put a 2-man Japanese submarine aboard our ship, and we took that to New York City. Upon arriving at New York City, we had orders to go back down to New Orleans, pick up a load of coffee to bring to Providence, Rhode Island. It was kind of, they didn't know what to do with us, I guess, at that time. But shortly after that, we went out on fleet maneuvers with the 8th Fleet. Upon arriving back, I had served the U.S. Mercury for 1 year and 3 days. And after the war, they implemented a system by where if you had 21 points, you would be discharged from the service. You received 1.5 points for each month that you served sea duty. So that gave me 18 points. And half a point for every month you were on stateside duty. So when I accumulated 21 points, you were discharged from the Navy. I had signed up for the year for duration of the war in 6 months. So on July 5th, 1946, I was discharged from the Navy at Fort Snelling, Minnesota. To this day, I have not regretted serving my country during World War II. Even though my time of the service was at the tail end of the war, I would certainly recommend any 18-year-old or older who did not know what to do with their life to join the branch of the service. You would learn discipline, following orders, punctuality. These are some of the byproducts of serving. And you learned at that time receiving also a free education in some branch of the service. These are all byproducts that I observed throughout my career in the Navy. I would like to recommend that we each give applause to those people who took charge of putting up this beautiful memorial at this time. Thank you.
Now we'll hear from Don Brummer.
First of all, I want to thank you all for coming and making this memorial possible for your donations. And I was a prisoner of war in World War II. I was drafted in the Army in March 1944 and inducted at Camp Dodge, Iowa. I took my basic training at Camp Roberts, California for 17 weeks. Then I had a 10-day furlough, and from home I went to Camp Maxey, Texas, and was inducted or installed in whatever you want to call it, in the 99th Infantry Division, and was there for about a month, and then went to the East Coast to go overseas in September of 1944. We landed at Liverpool, England, and we had 2 more weeks of training there, and it rained there every day. I had my 19th birthday on October 31, and we crossed the English Channel that same night, and we landed at Le Havre, France. And that was the first look of war and the destruction. And on November 5 of 1944, I was on the front line in Belgium, serving mostly on the holding line. And then on December 16 of 1944, the Battle of the Bulge started, and I'd never seen so many Germans. Excuse me, in all my life. It was very foggy, and we had no air support. So at 9:30 on December 17, I was captured. I was never so scared in all my life. I'll tell you, those things come back. And we took our rifles apart and came out of the foxholes and said, "Kamerad," with our hands in the air, and we didn't know if they were going to keep us or shoot us. And then they took 4 of us to the first aid station of the Germans, and we had to carry the dead people out of there. And every time we carried a person out, we would get a good swift kick in the butt. And that's the first time I ever had a hold of a dead person. And the next day we were interrogated by a German officer, and every time he asked us a question, we'd give him our name, rank, and serial number, United States Army. I asked him, "How come you had such good English?" "Oh," he said, "I got my schooling in Boston." And then the next day we started out to Bonn, Germany, that was 80 miles away, and we walked every step of the way. We slept inside, never slept inside, even though it was cold and snowy. And on Christmas Day, they had about 20 of us guys standing by their depot to show the German people that when they was going to church, that they were winning the war. And you can about imagine what we looked like, because the way we kept warm in the foxholes, we mixed dirt and pine needles and gas and lit that, and that took that in the foxholes, and that's how we stayed warm. And when we got into Bonn, it got crowded, and they shipped us out in boxcars. And the boxcars are not the size of this, they're a lot smaller. We were in there for 4 days and 4 nights with only 1/8 of a loaf of bread and nothing to drink. We landed in Hammelburg, Germany. The food there was terrible. We only maybe got a cup of coffee in the morning and a small little baked potato in the afternoon and maybe some rice soup for that in the evening. And sometimes we got nothing. And one time we got pea soup and we was all sitting there. We didn't have no dining rooms or anything where we could eat. We had to go back in the barracks and sit on the beds and so. And he said, boy, when my mom made pea soup, that pea soup never had black peas in it. And we broke the peas open and every pea had a beetle in it, and I didn't see anybody spit them out. And a lot of prisoners got sick. So then I volunteered for work. And we went to Schweinfurt to clean streets. And when we walked to our work to clean the streets, we would pick up the apple cores and cigarette butts and the rotten cabbage out of the garbage cans. That's what we survived on. And when the American Army got close, they marched us out again. And we marched for 3 weeks, and we were liberated at Nuremberg. And when I was released, I never had my clothes off or a bath for 6 months, and I had lice like you wouldn't believe. And I weighed 128 pounds and never slept in a warm place. The white bread, when they gave it to us when we got liberated, it looked like angel food cake. Thank you, America, and this is a great place, and it needs our prayers. Thank you. I got a lot more to say, but they said keep it short.
And now we hear from the third graders. Thank you, students. Good job. Okay, veterans, please stand if you are able when you hear the band play your advance of service song. Army. Coast Guard. Marine Corps.